Welcome to episode 47 of the Quirky Monday Craftcast. My name is Kalisha, and you can find me anywhere online as Nadira Tani. I am coming to you today, Monday, July 23rd, from my home in Central Florida. And if you're a new viewer, thanks so much for giving me a shot. And if you're a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming back. This is my crafty podcast where I share the things that I'm making and creating with you guys. Last week, there wasn't a podcast because my husband and I were out of town, which I will tell you more about later. And with that, let's get into the crafting. So we'll start with finished objects, one of which I am wearing. This is I'll stand up so you can kind of see more of it. This is a t-shirt, well, kind of a t-shirt that I made. It's crocheted from, I couldn't tell you the fiber if I tried. I think maybe I might have a picture of the original yarn on Instagram. If I do, I'll put it in here. If not, this yarn came from a thrifted sweater that I thrifted last year, and I unraveled it. Last year there was an along called the Great Unravel, and let's see if I can remember who hosted it. I cannot remember off the top of my head who hosted it, so I'll put it down at the bottom of the screen. So if you want to go check out what was made for that along, it was pretty cool. So the premise of that was to unravel, thrift a sweater, unravel it, reclaim the yarn, and then create something new, whether that be another top, another sweater, or a market bag, or anything else. You just had to create something with it. And I did a shirt called the the Bad Penny Top. And it came out really well. I will put in a picture so that you can see it. It's an older finished object. But this one, I frogged this sweater, I reclaimed the yarn, rolled it into a ball, and I was like, oh, okay, when I finish the Bad Penny Top, I'll go ahead and make something with this yarn. But I never went around to doing it. So when we were packing to go out of town, I was like, okay, what's something that I can make really quick or I can work on in the car while we're driving? This kind of top. So the inspiration for this top was actually another top that I had seen that has kind of the same idea. It's a crochet top. It has a lace portion up here and then just a simple crocheted bottom called the Hongdae. And I am going to make that. It is a pattern by Trish Young, I believe her name is. But I'm still going to make that. You all made your voices known. Pretty much everybody voted that I make that top in the sunny day color on my last episode. So that will be coming. I'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. But back to this one. So I wanted to do something super simple, but I wanted to use this yarn, and this yarn wasn't the right weight to do the Hongdae in. So I was like, okay, well, let me come up with something that has kind of the same style, because I want to be able to wear it when we're out of town. I want to be able to be comfortable in it. I want it to be breezy and light, etc. So the top of this is made from cross stitches. So to do this stitch, and these are treble crochets in US term, you skip a space, treble crochet in the next one, and then the next stitch is you treble crochet in the space that you skipped. So you're essentially crocheting one and then crocheting back, and then skipping the next stitch, crocheting one, and then crocheting behind, to cross it. I don't know if that made any sense, and I'm sorry if that was all gibberish, but that's the top of this. It's super simple. I kept notes as I was going along so I can write it up to share. But this fiber, I really wish I could remember what it was, because it looks like it would be super like lightweight and like hot weather friendly, right? Nah, bruh. This thing was hot. And I still don't understand why. Maybe it was because I was wearing a tank top under it because, you know, modesty. But I think, and right now I have a white tank top on underneath it. But I think in the future what I might do is just wear like a sports bra and then this top, because holy cannoli, I was melting. But other than that, super comfortable. I really like the color. I like how it came out. I worked this kind of in pieces. I did the first, like the front lace part, and then I did the back lace part, and then I joined them together at the underarm, and then I worked in rounds for the body. And I wanted to do that, like work in rounds on the bottom part of the body, because I had a finite amount of yarn and there wasn't going to be any way to get any more. So, and then I ended up playing like the most epic game of yarn chicken that I've ever played in my life. When I finished, like I got to the last row and I'm crocheting along and I ran out of yarn with like maybe 10 stitches left. So I frogged it back out and then I started crocheting tighter so that I could, you know, like maximize the bit of yarn I had left. When I got to the last stitch and like slip stitched the round closed, I had this much yarn left. No joke. So I literally had enough just to weave in the end and be done. Like I couldn't even trim the end off. It was ridiculous. So yeah, that is my travel top. It doesn't have a name. I don't know what I should name it. Right now it's in my notes as like what, cross stitch lace top or something like that. But yeah, other than the fact that I was melting in it, I really like it. I'm just gonna chalk that like melting in it up to the Louisiana heat, because that's where we were. But I really like it, and I like how the color looks on me. I am fancy, yes. The other finished object that I'm wearing are actually my earrings. I've recently been doing some cleaning and I've recently been doing some cleaning and some organizing in my craft space, and I came across a container that I had put all of my earrings in. And there was a time in Kalisha's crafty life where I made jewelry. Like I made earrings, bracelets, necklaces, waist beads. I think that's everything. But like more than half of the earrings that I wore were handmade by myself. So in the past few years, like, I don't know, this was when I was in college, so it was more than 10 years ago that I was doing this. But within the last 10 years, I kind of got away from wearing most jewelry. Like typically all I wear on a regular basis is this bracelet, which is the Serenity Prayer, and my wedding ring. I rarely ever wear earrings, so when I came across this box that had all of my old earrings in it, I was like, oh, let me take these for a spin, you know, see if I want to get back into wearing earrings. So again, I'll get up so you can see them. Oh, turn around the right way. This is them. They just have sun pennants and then a textured piece behind. So just little dangly earrings. So who knows? You guys might see me wearing more earrings on the podcast. I don't know. Those are all of the finished objects that I'm wearing. But I do have another finished object. And dun, 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 it is finished. This is the Namaste Joyful tank that I knit from Lion Brand Shawl in a Ball. Nope, Shawl in a Cake. And this pattern is Joy by Kim Hargreaves. So this piece of knit work here, my god. I'm so proud of this. Number one, because I've never knit a tank before. Number two, I've never knit like a fingering weight, like this is fingering slash sport weight, I would say, garment. Is that true? Yeah, that's true. All of the other, any other knit garment that I have has been worsted weight, but this was a labor of love. I modified the pattern out the wazoo. Initially, this was meant to be made in pieces, so you make a front piece and then you make a back piece and then you seam them together. I did not want to do that, so I modified the pattern to make it in the round, which caused me to have to do a whole lot more like math and stuff, like to make sure that I was putting like the increases and decreases in the right space and blah 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 blah. But I love how it came out. I wore it when we were away, and I'll put a picture of me. Matter of fact, I'll put in pictures of this top and this top, the outfits that I wore. In the last episode, I was talking about how I wanted to lengthen. I think I was talking about lengthening the bottom, but I ended up lengthening it with crochet. So I just did 1 row of single crochet and then 2 rows of double crochet and then a very simple scalloped edging. Nope, can't see that. Oh, maybe I can. There we go. So that's how it looks. I blocked it, like steam blocked it a little bit to stretch it out, and I really, really love how this looks on. Like, when I was in the midst of knitting it, I was like, oh my goodness, you know, I'm gonna look like a head to toe gradient of brown, and I'm completely okay with that. I'm completely okay with that. And then I thrifted this super cute pair of high waist blue jean shorts that I wore with this. Y'all could not have told me I was not super cute in this outfit. Like, yes. So that is Namaste Joyful. Love it. Yeah, there isn't anything else I want to say about this. You know, that's everything. I'm so glad to be done with this, because when I was getting towards the end, y'all know I was ready to just be through over it. Oh, I did the seaming that I had to do at the top of the shoulders. I just did a single crochet seam across there and call it a day. Woven the ends, we good to go. So that is all of my finished objects. And now we can go on into works in progress. The first work in progress, ones that I was working on the whole time that we were in New Orleans. And they are tangled up. This is Melody, or JoJo Land Melody Superwash 100% wool. That's it. And this is the cake. It's a gradient yarn, so there you go. And then this is how the sock is working up. I really like it. So this yarn is like, maybe it has something to do with it being 100% superwash wool, but it's really stretchy, and I really enjoyed knitting with it. I only have like 1 ball right now, so I do need to go back to the store and get another one. And while I'm there, excuse me, while I'm there, I might pick up another colorway, because there was like I think a pink one that I liked the day that I bought this. So we'll see. We'll see what she has in stock. These are just going to be a standard vanilla sock. Nothing too special. I might try doing the German short row heel on here instead of my regular wrap and turn short row heel. We'll see how I feel when I get there. This one is also going to have a longer leg, probably between 80 and 100 rows, just so that I can use up the majority of the yarn. What else do I have for works in progress? Oh yeah. So, as I found out probably a week and a half into it, Tour de Fleece is happening. And I was like, oh man, I should totally spin for Tour de Fleece. I didn't make any commitments or anything like that because like my spinning is not like that consistent of something that I really like pick up to actively do. So I just like whenever I felt like the pull to spin, I just went ahead, grabbed my spinning and worked on it. So I did some spinning last night. Let me get these all together. And I'm spinning on my handmade drop spindle. This is it. The whirl is made from, what is it called? Fimo clay? Fimo? You know, the oven baked clay that you can get. That's what the whirl is made. Oh my goodness, this is so overspun. That's gonna be fun. Can you see this? Look at that. It's like a telephone cord. Ooh. Oh well, whatevs. So this is what I'm spinning. And here's the braid. I've got a bunch of little nests that I've already prepared, like stripped down for spinning. So that's how the fiber looks. And this is the braid. This is what's left. And this is a whole lot. Like I bought this probably definitely a year ago. And yeah, I don't even know if I'm halfway through this braid yet. Do I have the, yeah. And I have the band. It's by Euphoric Fibers. It is a mix of merino, nylon, and bamboo. Doesn't tell you the percentages or anything. And I don't believe that Euphoric Fibers is still in business. If you go to their website, it's just kind of like a blog front. And the last time it was updated was like a year and a half ago or something like that. So that's what I have that I'm spinning on. And I really like the way that this spindle is spinning. So one of my goals for this year was actually to finish this green fiber spin. So I want to, of course, spin it all up into singles, and then I'm going to do a 2-ply on it. But yeah, take a look at that. Look at how overspun that is. Just look at that. What the flim flam? What is this up here? Just seriously, Kalisha? Whatever. I was spinning on this last night because when I got home from work, the TV was on, and what was that movie? Star Wars, The Force Awakens was on. And I was like, oh, I should spin and do like an impromptu sip and spin. So I did that, and I spun about half of the fiber that I had prepared, and then the rest I made into those little nests when the movie was over. So, side note, still haven't finished watching through all of the Star Wars movies. I think I watched the first 2. And then I stopped. So I should probably get back to that. And I believe that is all of my works in progress. Oh, I lied. Not all of my works in progress. Here's another section of the podcast where Kalisha whip shames herself. And And the reason that I am whip shaming myself with this particular whip is because I was watching Hannah of the Cozy Cottage Crochet, and she was showing the, I think it's called like the adult V-neck cardigan by Yarnspirations. And I was like, man, that looks familiar. That looks familiar because I am also making one. But I'm not doing the V-neck, I'm doing the crew neck version. So it's basically the same cardigan, but the neck shaping is different. So I started this, not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before that. So there's that. And I have a front, another front, a back, and a sleeve. So all I need to do is make the other sleeve. That's literally it. And then I have to seam it all together. And I think the thing that's like freaking me out with this, one is that I'm like super nervous to seam it, but two, I feel like this sleeve is going to be too short. And I'm pretty sure that in the pattern they do have schematics that tell you how long the sleeve is supposed to be. I did not check gauge on this because I was living wildly and making poor choices. So I might end up having to crochet this sleeve over again. But because I don't think that this front, or no, this is the back. This may not be a good way to judge it. Oh, turn around. Come on, Kalisha. Get together. This may not be a good way to judge it, but I feel like it's going to be like this, and my little wrists are going to be so cold. And I don't know. All I remember about doing this sleeve is that I got frustrated with it. I don't know why I was frustrated. I have no notes on it. I was just kind of like, nah. And then I put it away, and it was folded up inside a box. And then, of course, whilst I was cleaning, I unearthed it. And then I saw Hannah's. And then I was like, oh, man, I need to do that. So what I think I'm going to do is pick up the pattern, make the other sleeve to pattern and to match this one. And then, because this is acrylic yarn, this is one of those like value bags from Joann's where you get like 3 balls of yarn for like $7-8. I have yarn. I just need to find what I did with the contrast. But this is acrylic, and it's kind of like the Caron Simply Soft, but maybe just a little bit thicker. But it probably is Caron Simply Soft, or around about that. But since it's acrylic, I will be able to like modify the fit with steam blocking. You know, if I need to stretch out the sleeves just a smidge. But I just need to make it. So whip shaming on this episode is get this sweater done. It's gonna look so cute on me with these little magenta highlights, right? Like isn't that cute? Why am I wasting my life away? So yeah, we have these, and also I need to reclaim my stitch markers. Because those are necessary for other stuff. So get that folded back up, and I will put this in a place of prominence so that I actually work on it. I do have an update on that blanket, like the round blanket that I was doing. I will put in a picture because I didn't want to bring it on the podcast because it hasn't moved a lot, or it hasn't had a whole lot of progress, and that's primarily because there's a whole lot of stitches on each one of those rounds, and I'm changing color every round. So But I'm working on it, y'all. I am working on it. All right. So we did works in progress, finished objects. So the next thing are upcoming plans. Of course, I still have the holiday. I started working on that yesterday, but because she has the gauge like listed, I tried to get gauge, and I don't know if I crochet like super loose or what the deal is, but the gauge for the project, or for the top, was 6 double crochet per inch using a 4.5 millimeter hook, and I wasn't getting anywhere near that. I think I had 4. Yeah, I think it was 4 stitches per inch, like 4.5 stitches per inch on the 4.5. So I went down to a 3. Yeah, I went down to a 3.5, and there I got like 5 stitches per inch, and I was like, there is no way that I'm going all the way down to freaking a 2.5 millimeter hook to make this top, because that's going to be ridiculous. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'll just stick with a 3. So I started, working the bottom, and it's constructed similar to this, but it's made in pieces. So you have the front piece and the back piece, and you start at the bottom hem, and you're supposed to do a chain of 63. It is a free pattern, don't worry. I will also link it in the down bar. You're supposed to do a chain of 63 and then double crochet back across it, so you end up with 61 stitches, and that's supposed to be half of your body. No, not half of this body. And in her notes, she did say that she made it to fit her, and gave instructions on how to modify it. So I looked at that and I was like, okay, well, she's obviously smaller than me. So I ripped out what I had done and put it away because it was real late at night and I wanted to do something else. So I ripped out what I'd done, and what I think I'm going to do is restart it with the 4.5 millimeter, see what the 63 or the 61 stitches looks like if that's going to be wide enough for me. If not, I will go ahead and increase the number of stitches, and you can increase by like six stitches. So I might do that, and then just go ahead and make the pattern. I am going to modify that one to be worked in the round, because I want to use the majority of each of the ball of yarn that I have. So I have 2 balls. 2? Who does 2 like this? I have 2 balls of the Lion Brand Cupcake in the Sunny Day colorway, which is the one I'm going to be using. And so I'm going to use ball number 1 for the whole body, and then I guess I will continue working like one of the sides with that ball number 1, and then finish that, and then reattach it to do the reverse side. Depending on where that reattachment happens, I think I might end up pulling from the second ball, because even though I want to say that I'll be okay with it not matching, I think that's going to bother me. But stay tuned, watch this space. We'll soon find out what Kalisha decides to do when she gets to this part of the holiday top. So that's the only plan, like the only pattern that I have planned to do that I haven't actually started yet. The other things that I want to do that I have on my my maker plans is I want to knit another tank top. I am on the hunt for a tank top pattern that will hopefully be better written than the Rowan one, because that one assumed so much. And even if I hadn't done all of the bajillion of mods that I did to that pattern, it was still written in a super confusing way. But I want to knit another tank top. I want to crochet a tank top because I haven't done that. And yeah, those are the only things that I have on my maker plans. And with that, we will skedaddle right over to stash positions. And I will give a heads up. I went a little yarn crazy recently. Sorry, not sorry. So, I have broken up my stash position section into things I bought before vacation, things I bought on the way to vacation, and then there's the souvenir stuff, which I will show that when I'm talking about all of the New Orleans stuff. So, before vacation, I was scrolling around on Instagram, as you do. Beware the Instagram scroll because you will get got. And I got in such a beautiful way. So the first thing I purchased was from Queen's Yarn Boutique. And she was having a summer sale. I forget how much off it was. I want to say it was like 50% off. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness, is that a misprint? Let me go check her site. Sure enough, that summer sale was epic. So I got this yarn. This is Hella of Asgard, and it is her Diamonds and Pearls base, which is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. This is my first MCN, guys. And look at those colors. I mean, could I have purchased anything that wasn't green? Like, oh my gosh. And it's so soft. And I have another skein of her yarn in, I think it's a 75-25. So I was like, well, let me see what the difference is like in feeling. And I held them both together, and oh my good gracious, MCN is so soft. Ah, I feel like I'm like, oh, just, I don't want to strip it. I don't want to strip the little yarn baby. We'll just pull it up like that. Look at her. Hello, Hella. Look at that. I don't even know what this is going to be, but whatever it's going to be like the most luxurious thing ever. I'm not going to make socks out of it. That's not going to happen. Because I don't want this. I mean, I feel like it would be lovely to have on my feet, and my feet would just be like super fancy. Like, I wear cashmere socks, but I don't want to be walking around on this. I want this to be like wrapped lovingly around my neck. Like, that's what I need. That's what I need. So I need like a one skein situation of something for this yarn. It's got Kiva in it already. Story of my life. But I was so excited to purchase that. So I'll sit that right there. Hi, little yarn baby. Oh wait. There. Then did I see this on, yep, this is on Instagram too. Another shop, this is Ashlovmakes. I think that's what she's called. Ashlovmakes? Yeah. Ashlovmakes. And all the shops that I mentioned will be linked down below. But she was also having a sale, and she kind of did like a Christmas in July kind of thing. So I was like, okay, let me go take a look at her shop. And she had these super cute Christmas pet bags. And when I saw this one, I was like, oh my gosh, I really want that. And it's hard for me to purchase project bags because I make them, but sometimes, you know, you just gotta support. So I bought this. Let me show you on the front. It's got a little bell on it. But look at it. Aren't they so cute and ready for Christmas? Like, and then there's presents on the inside. So I need some Christmas sock yarn now. and I think what I'm going to end up doing is dyeing myself some. Yeah, I'm going to dye myself some Christmas sock yarn. I'm going to put it in my Christmas pets bag, and yeah, I'm just going to be like super ready. Like, I love Christmas, y'all. I love Christmas so much. It makes me so happy, and yeah. Look at them. Look at this one. This is kind of almost like Kiva. Look, it's a Christmas Kiva. Oh my word. So those were the two things. Oh wait, no. I made a purchase at CrochetLuna. So where did I see this? Oh, I was watching Stephanie of the Tatted Tatter. I think it was Stephanie. And she, Claudia of the CrochetLuna podcast and Etsy shop, had sent her her new button, the Happiness is Crochet, and hers was yellow and green. I did not know that there was a yellow and green one until I saw hers, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go buy that because those are my colors. And the one that Claudia had sent me is, I think, pink and purple, so I'm going to take that one and put it in my giveaway stash. More prizes for you guys. So this is the new Happiness is Crochet that I purchased, and it's my colors. It's my colors. And it just makes me so happy. It just, you know. And she also sent a bag of tea, which is coconut mango wooyi oolong tea. Is that wooyi? I don't know. I've never had oolong tea before, so I'm super excited to try that. I'm gonna have to do some research so that I don't burn it up. So those were the things that I purchased before the trip. I also, before the trip, received this amazing gift from my internet friend April, and when I opened the box, it was just so sweet and heartfelt. Like, she wrote a note, and in the note she was saying that she saw these yarns at her local yarn shop, and they reminded her of me and Lamar's wedding colors. So she got them for me. And the idea that someone that you don't know personally thinks about your wedding colors when they see certain colors together, like wherever they are, is just so special. Like, thank you, April. But that was not all that was in there. She also sent me a skein of her hand-dyed, hand-spun yarn, and they are also in our wedding colors. So my heart is so full when I think about these yarns. So let me show you them, and then I'll tell you what Lamar suggested we use them for, because I showed him the note and everything, and he read it and he was like, oh. And then I showed him the yarn and he was like, oh, that's so nice. Your people are so nice. Like, yes, they are. So these are the yarns. Oh, I got a sneak peek there. These are the yarns that she got from her yarn shop, her local yarn shop, and they are Canopy. It's a Canopy. I guess Canopy is the, yeah, it's Canopy Fingering Weight by the Fiber Co. Yeah. All right, and it is 50% baby alpaca, 30% merino, and 20% viscose from bamboo. Look at them. Aren't they beautiful? Oh my gosh. This blue is called Tanager, I think. Tanager. Tanager. The green is Parakeet. And the yellow is Turmeric. So, look at it. It's our wedding colors. And then this is the handspun. Oh my word. And in her note, she was like, oh, you know, I hope that you like it despite its imperfections. Girl, please. Imperfections. Get out of here. But this is, I think it was Polworth silk. And of course I left a note in the other room. But I'll put it on the screen if it's wrong. I do believe that it's Polworth and a Polworth silk blend. So and this is how they look together. Like they were meant to be together. Look at that. Anyway, so I showed them to Lamar and I was like, babe, like, what should I make with this? And he was like, you should save it and use it to make a baby blanket. And I was like, that would be so beautiful. Like, whenever we have our first kid, like, they get a baby blanket made out of mommy and daddy's wedding colors in yarn that was lovingly spun by one of mommy's friends. Oh my gosh. I'm just so happy right now. So thank you so much, April, for this amazing gift. And it's so soft. Like, baby alpaca and get out of here right now. Baby alpaca and merino and viscose from bamboo. It's like, I just want to snuggle it. Hi, these are my babies. I love them so much. We're going to put them over here for now. Let's make a nice little display. La, 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 la. Do, 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 do. Oh, now you can't see. Whatever. So that was everything pre-trip. Whilst we were on the trip, so we were driving from Florida to New Orleans, and as we were driving along, we stopped. I think we just like stopped to take a break, or no, it was when we were stopping to switch drivers. So Lamar had driven, and then we were gonna switch, and then I was driving, and it was like around 8 o'clock or so when we switched, and we were in Alabama. So we stopped in this little shopping center. And lo and behold, in the shopping center was a Michael's. And when one is in another state, one must check and see if there's different stuff, because there is always different stuff. And I picked up these two from the Michael's in Alabama. This is Wool-like in this bright yellow color. What do they call this? Golden yellow. There you go. Clever. So Wool-like is I think it's acrylic and nylon. Yeah, 85% acrylic, 15% nylon. Fingering weight, like a light fingering, like almost bordering on lace. But I have knit socks from this before, and they came out pretty nice. So, yeah. My Michael's does not have bright colors like this. They're all like fall jewel tones that they have. And I like they recently all went on sale, so I have like one ball of like all the colors that they offer. So when I saw this, I was like, okay, I have to get that. It's so pretty. So there's that. Oh, and Wool-like is only, I think, $2.99 or $3.99. So when you get that with a coupon, this is a whole lot of yarn for your buck. And then the other one I got is Perfect Pair. And this is 70% acrylic, 23% viscose from bamboo, and 7% polyester. And this is 100 grams 454 yards, 415 meters. The colorway for this is Secret Garden, and I had never seen, oh, let me show it to you. This is a loops and threads yarn. I'd never seen this before, so I just wanted to get one ball just to try it out. And then when I got back in the car, I searched to see if this yarn was in my local Michaels, and of course it is not. So maybe this is something that's new that hasn't come to my Michaels yet, because it's not in the state of Florida at all yet. So we'll see how I like it. I want to see how it's going to like wear, comparing it to my wool socks. If it's going to be cooler, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm really excited about this. Everybody loves a new kind of sock yarn, right? So those are the things that I bought on the way to New Orleans, and things that I got before New Orleans. So this is all stuff that has happened over the last like 3 weeks. I'm gonna go on a yarn ban just because I have so much yarn that I need to work with. Like yarns that I bought to try out, because I wanted to see how they, like if it's something that I want to, you know, keep using, etc. So we will transition now. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I've been so excitingly talking to you guys. We'll transition now into the life and whatnot section, which is just all about New Orleans. So this past week, Lamar and I were in New Orleans. We left on this past Monday, which I don't remember what the date was. Let's check my handy dandy calendar. We left on Monday the 16th. And we were in New Orleans all the way through Friday the 20th. And it was such a good time. I've never been to New Orleans. Lamar had gone once, but he didn't really get to do anything. So we're counting it as both of our like first trips to New Orleans. And I really wanted to like do touristy things and like have experiences and stuff like that. So I made a bucket list, which I took a picture of and shared it on Instagram because someone on there asked me if I could, so I did. But this is my New Orleans bucket list. You see it? And I did almost everything on it. The only thing that I didn't check off was the World War II Museum, because I crossed that off. I decided I didn't want to do that. Visiting Frenchman Street for the jazz clubs and art market, because other things took priority over just going to wander around the street. And while we were there, I added go to Cafe Beignet at Jack's Brewery. We ended up not going there, but we did go to this other place called Morning Call, and I had beignets there. So I guess I'll do kind of like a storytelling just based on my bucket list. So first thing on here, beignets at Cafe du Monde. We did that the first day that we were there, and it was really cool to see like the buzzing atmosphere in Cafe du Monde, but I was not impressed by their beignets. I'd never had a beignet before, so I was like, okay. I mean, I guess it's a fried dough with powdered sugar on it. I don't know why people are losing their minds over these, but you know, whatever. Maybe it's just I have an unpopular opinion. So we went there, and I was just like, meh. But then a couple days later, when we went to Morning Call and got beignets there, I was like, oh, this is what you meant. This is why it was so, like, everybody is like, oh my gosh, you have to get beignets. because the ones that we had at morning call were like super fresh. Like the guy fried them right then, and they were crispy and they were hot, and it was just like so delightful. On the other hand, the ones at Cafe Du Monde, when we ordered, there was a line. So Lamar said that he feels like, you know, they had been cooking them and then just putting them in the baskets, and then giving the bags, and then giving the bags to the people, since they had a line. So the ones that we got had been sitting for a little while. So, but I'm glad that I got to taste like a good fresh beignet, because thumbs up to that. I totally agree with everyone who's like, oh my gosh, you have to get beignets, they are delicious, because they were. You have to get fresh beignets because they are delicious. Okay, so the next thing on my list was something live jazz, because Lamar was all over, like, I want to go do something live jazz, that's what I want to do. I don't care what else we do, we have to go see some live jazz somewhere. And I'm like, bet, we can do this. So we ended up going to Preservation Hall. And Preservation Hall is this teeny tiny building where you come and you sit on these little benches, and the band is like right there, and there was a piano, upright bass, trombone, trumpet, drums, clarinet. Who was over there? Saxophone. And it was amazing. There was no photos, no video in there. So you know how like you try to like suck in everything just so that you can have that vivid picture in your mind? That's what I feel like I was doing. It was so awesome to see them playing. And I have this thing where like watching musicians appreciate music is so amazing to me. And you could see them like listening to each other, and how whoever was leading the song, how they were actually directing through their body motions. It was great. And then at one point, the gentleman playing the trombone, it was like, I guess, his song that they were doing, and he sang I'll Fly Away. And when they started playing the music, because they started with the music before he got into the words, and I was like, I know this song. And so I started to hum along with it, and then when he started singing it, I was like, yes! And so I'm like singing along with him, and it's definitely a churchy kind of song. And the lyrics are, on that morning when this life is over, I'll fly away. Like, glory, hallelujah, I'll fly away. And I was singing along with it, and it was such a good feeling, just in there with the music, and I also had one of those moments, like, you know, when you go to church and someone, you know, singing something that you really appreciate or something like that. I'm sitting in the back of Preservation Hall like, yes, amen. They took me straight to church, y'all. Straight to church. I don't even care. It was great. And I did get a souvenir from Preservation Hall. I got a couple buttons. I got a button, and this is what the front of the bass drum looks like. So it says Preservation Hall Jazz Band, and New Orleans, Louisiana. And then I got this one, this enamel pin, and this is what their sign that hangs outside of their building, like over the doorway, that's what that looks like. So those are my two souvenirs from Preservation Hall. Lamar got a jazz CD, which we haven't gotten to listen to yet. So one of these nights we're gonna have a listening party and just listen to some old jazz. The next thing on here was the French Quarter. We explored the French Quarter the first day that we were there. So we did all of that on Tuesday, because we got there Monday night. So we walked around, went in a couple shops, just seeing everything, seeing the architecture. That was the day that we went to Cafe Du Monde. We saw some live, of course they're live. We saw some jazz, we saw a jazz band playing in front of the, which cathedral is it? Saint Cathedral. And they were really like really engaging. And what else did we do in the French Quarter? Oh, that was the day that we went to the quarter stitch yarn shop. So I got some yarn from Quarter Stitch, and I kept it in the packaging because this is so fun. Like, look at that. And it has like hearts in it and everything. I took her business card out so that I could put it with my other business cards for scrapbooking purposes. But anybody watch Graveyard Girl? Worms! All right. This is the yarn that I got from Quarter Stitch. It is, can I get the tag out? Talk amongst yourselves. It is Mountain Colors, beautiful hand-painted yarns. It is 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon in the Crazy Foot base, I believe it's called. Yeah, Crazy Foot. And this colorway is called Mardi Gras. Ta-da! So this is like my ultimate New Orleans souvenir yarn, just all there. So I got that. I was gonna get one of her enamel pins, but I decided to just, you know, save my dollars and stick with the one ball of yarn. But yeah, that was from Quarter Stitch. The next thing, oh, while we were in the French Quarter, we also went to the French Market, which is a place that Lamar wanted to visit because they have a flea market. So we walked around there. We didn't get anything in there, but it was cool to see. What else did we do that day? That was everything that we did that day. The next thing on here was the New Orleans Museum of Art and the Sculpture Garden. So the New Orleans Museum of Art has a sculpture garden next to it, and that's free. So if you're ever in New Orleans and you want to see some really cool sculptures, check that out. There is this one called Karma, and I'm definitely going to put a picture in of it because it was just amazing. You'll see. So that was by far my favorite sculpture in the sculpture garden. It was just, it was so amazing. Then we went inside and we walked around the art museum. They had this exhibit called Changing Course, and it was a history. I can't find the paper with the name of the title of the exhibition on it, so I'll just put it in the bottom of the screen. But it was an amazing exhibition just about race in New Orleans and just the interaction of people of different backgrounds and different identities, and just like looking at these things historically. So one of the I vlogged the whole time we were there. So I think it was day 3. I think it was day 3 that we went to the art museum. So you can definitely see parts of that exhibition in that vlog. And if you are planning to go to New Orleans, that exhibition is going to be there until September, I think, I would definitely encourage you to check it out. It was really, really breathtaking. One of the artists in that exhibition was a photographer, and he did a photo story about the New Orleans education system, and it's basically a story of these black students who essentially take over their education. And when we were looking at the different images, they have like captions and stories that go along with each one. It was really awesome the way that he chose to tell the story, and especially since the photo story was not that many photos, so each one was like very poignant, and I really appreciated that, like from an artistic photography standpoint. But let's see. We also had, or I put due a harbor jazz cruise. We rode the Natchez steamboat. I keep putting things down when I can show you stuff. We rode the historic Natchez steamboat, and which is like the last, I almost said living. It's the last living steamboat. No, it's the last working steamboat that is actually operational and steam driven. It was really cool. Like we rode the boat. It went down the Mississippi for a while, and there was a narrator, telling you the history of New Orleans and other interesting things. And then it turned around and came back up. And on the way up, or on the way back to the dock, there was a live band that was playing jazz on the boat. So that was really cool. When you're boarding the boat, they had a calliope concert. I didn't know what a calliope was. I was just excited when I saw that because in college, it was actually one of my nicknames. Like one of my friends called me Calliope, but he pronounced it Calliope, whatever. But I believe Calliope was like the goddess of poetry or something like that. So when I saw Calliope, I was like, hey, it's me. No. But so I learned what a calliope is. It kind of sounds a little bit annoying. Definitely could not listen to that for more than like 15 minutes. Lamar was pretty much done with it after the first two. And I was like, no, I gotta do like a video. So he was like, I need her to stop playing that. To each his own. What else? So we did some like, not necessarily sightseeing, but there were important like historical points that we wanted to visit. Like Lamar wanted to go and go to the lower Ninth Ward, where the majority of the flooding and everything happened with Hurricane Katrina. And when we went down there, there was this whole like it was kind of set up like a sitting garden area with big posters or big boards of information about how the levees were constructed, why they breached, what happened, how they've rebuilt, how they've made things better, different legislation that has come across to keep people safer so that this doesn't happen again. And it was really interesting to see that there were even areas where you could see where it was the old levees and then the new part that they built, like fixing it. And there was so much space that was gone. One of the points that like really hit home for me was in the area where they had all of this information that you're reading about, like what happened with Hurricane Katrina. That lot used to be a house. And they were saying the spot that you are currently standing on used to be a house. When the levees breached, the water rushed in and basically lifted that house and carried it down the road. Like, like, I can't even imagine what that's like, like your everything was literally washed away. And the whole time we were down there, You know, I could only think about people that I know personally that lived in New Orleans, that lost their homes and had to move. One of my wingmates in college, her family had to move because their house was flooded. You know, they had nowhere to live, so they had to move up to where we were in school. And it makes you really appreciate, you know, what you have. And of course, when I was down there and they're, you know, reading about the devastation behind Hurricane Katrina, it just kept reminding me of the devastation that it happened with Hurricane Irma last year. Like, there's so much pain that happens behind these storms, like these natural. It reminds me that you never know what someone else is dealing with, because the people who were displaced from Hurricane Katrina, they didn't all go to the same place. You know, they went out, like, somewhere else. So somebody that you know at your job could be someone who has this in their personal history, like they have gone through this struggle. And the person that you pass on the street could be somebody who has gone through a struggle like this. So it really made me think, like, okay, we really need to put in a more effort to be kinder to everyone, like kinder to the people that we meet. Let me get off this soapbox. The next, like, historical place that we visited was Congo Square, and that was a place that I personally wanted to visit because that was a location where enslaved people were allowed to go and keep in touch with their Africanness, where a lot of times that connection to Africa was severed, and those traditions were taken away from enslaved people. So being able to go to that place and to sit on those grounds and to think about the fact that in my family's history, like in my ancestry, that there is slavery, the idea that, you know, even though I don't believe any of my family was enslaved in Louisiana, there could be some way that generations back or years, that generations back, someone came through this area that led to me. It was such an intense feeling. Like, even thinking about it right now, I'm about to cry because I'm just an emotional person. But just the idea of that connection, that I am here because of these people. You know, I am able to have the kind of job that I am. I am able to speak to anyone that I want to speak to. I can walk down the sidewalk and I don't have to cross the street. I don't have to lower my eyes. I have such a bigger future because of these people, you know, because that is where my blackness comes from. And it was such a quiet internal, like, moment for me. And I'm so glad that we were able to go and visit that space. Like, that was amazing. On a higher note, we also visited the aquarium, which was a whole lot of fun. I love aquariums where you can go and you see these animals that you don't really think about in a regular day-to-day life. One of the most impressive things for me was just the size of these animals. You know, in my mind, whenever I think, like, oh, it's a fish, it's like a fish, or it's a fish. Like, it's not like a fish. There was one point where these parents, they had like a little kid. He was probably like maybe 5 or something. And they were like, oh, look at the fish, look how big he is. And the tank that the fish was in, like it had the glass, and then there was like a rock, like ledge where you could sit. And they were like, oh, lay down on the ledge. So they lay this little boy out as the fish is swimming by. And the fish was bigger than the child. And that was just like, oh my gosh. That's not a guppy. Like, it was huge. And then later on, as we were walking through, we passed this exhibit that had sharks in it. And it was like the wall of the tank was, of course, like the whole wall of the room. So you have like all of these different fish in there. And this shark came swimming by, and he was swimming like towards me this way, and then he curved up and went like this. So where I'm standing, it was almost like the shark was swimming over my head. And I was just like, that thing is ginormous. And it wasn't even that big, like when it comes to like shark-sized things. Like, this was a little shark on the scale of like Baby Shark to Jaws. This was a little shark, but it was still like, holy cannoli. But I'm always in awe and amazement at the creations that you see. Like God sat down and said, I'm gonna make these things. This is exactly why I feel like whenever we're creating and we're making things with, you know, our yarn and strings and hooks and needles and stuff, like, creativity is a gift from God. You can't tell me otherwise. Anyway. Let's see. Did I get any souvenirs from I didn't get like a whole lot of souvenirs from the aquarium. I did get this. This is my coin book. I do collect pressed pennies. So New Orleans has a whole lot of pressed penny machines. I didn't get to hit all of them. I wanted to, but I was a reasonable adult. But I got this souvenir coin album to keep all of my pressed pennies that I got over the trip. And these are all of the ones that I got. I got 2 of them from the Steamboat, 3 from Cafe du Monde. No. I got 2 from the Steamboat, 1 from just like a general New Orleans one, 2 from Cafe du Monde, 1 from the IMAX theater that's next to the aquarium, and 3 from the aquarium. And those are all of the ones that I was able to get. I really like this one from Cafe du Monde. It's like their logo. And then this one, which way is up? This one says coffee and beignets. So that's pretty cool. I definitely wanted to ride the trolley, because when you're walking around New Orleans, you see like all these trolley lines, and it just looks like a delightful experience. I've never been on a trolley before, so I was like, well, let's do this. So we didn't ride the trolley until the last day, and we decided that we were going to catch the trolley to ride to District Donuts. And the trolley that we got on, like, the fare machine was broken, so we ended up getting to ride for free, which was amazing. And we went on, it was the St. Charles Street trolley, and that whole road is just full of these big, historic, beautiful homes, like full of Southern charm. It was amazing, so beautiful. There's footage in the vlog, of course. So we ride the trolley down, and the stop that we had to get off on was about a 15-minute walk from the stop to the donut shop. And I'm a terrible judge of time. Like, that's what I have learned like, not learned about myself at this trip. I already knew that, but it was like reconfirmed that I'm a really bad judge of time and distance. So I was like, 15-minute walk, that's fine. Yeah, a 15-minute walk is fine normally, but in the New Orleans like swamp heat, that was not a good idea. And I was wearing jeans because I'm crazy, and I was wearing a black shirt because I don't love myself. By the time we made it to District Donuts, like, I was like melted, like not even melting anymore. I was melted. But District Donuts was amazing. They had, like, they make these donuts that are like legit this big. They were delicious. We have like one donut left, I think, from District Donuts. We might even, I think Lamar may have even eaten that. We might not have any donuts left from District Donuts, but it was delicious. Again, definitely recommend, if you're in the area, go to District Donuts. They have a couple locations, so you can definitely put that on your to-do list. So after we left District Donuts, next door, actually one of the guys in District Donuts had this shirt that said like New Orleans, it's a small town after all, I think. And I was like, oh man, I really like your shirt, because it was like styled like Disney. And I was like, oh man, you know, I really like your shirt. We're from Orlando, so that's like a perfect amalgamation of where we're from and where we visited. Where did you get it? And he was like, actually, I got it next door. She only like did a small run, so you can check and see if she has any. I was like, bet. So we went next door. She only had like kid size of the shirts, and I was gonna try to get like a medium one, but nah. But then she told me that she also had, she had it on a postcard. So I got the postcard, and that's what it looks like. Isn't that cool? Like, oh my gosh, that is perfect for somebody who is visiting New Orleans from Orlando. Is it not? I think it is. Best thing ever. So I got that. And then we were walking down the way, and Lamar decided he did not want to ride the trolley back because he didn't want to make that walk. So he was like, all right, we're going to catch the bus. But the area that we were in was like partially under construction, so we ended up having to walk anyway to find a bus stop. As we were walking along, we passed this bead shop, and we stopped in there because I wanted to see if they had any like New Orleans themed like charms, and they did. So I picked up these three. We have a steamboat, a fleur-de-lis, which is upside down, and a trolley. So I'm going to make progress keepers out of those. So I was super excited to find those. And then we were in the bead shop, and Lamar was like, oh man, Kalisha, hurry up, we're about to miss the bus. So I'm like writing furiously, trying to get, you know, the stuff written down to go and check out. And as soon as the lady started ringing me out, he was like, oh man, we missed the bus. So I felt a little bit bad, but I'm happy that I got my charms. So when we left that store, right next door was another yarn shop. And this was one that wasn't on my list of shops to visit because when I looked up the location, I was like, well, we're not going to be on that side of town, so I'm not even going to put that on the list. It was Uptown Needle and Craft Works. I think that's what it's called. But there, they are clearancing. It used to be a yarn and fabric store, but they're getting rid of all of their yarn so that they can only be fabric. So to get rid of their yarn, they're like 70% off of everything. So I went in and we're looking around, and I only came away with 2 balls because I wanted to be like responsible, restrained. So I got these 2. This one is Cascade Yarns Cherub Aran Sparkle. It is nylon, acrylic, and metallic. So sparkly black yarn. And this one is Babe Jazz. And this is polyamide and acrylic. Just those like soft baby colors. So I like them. I don't have anything like this in my stash. I have one that's kind of like this. Like, it actually feels kind of the same. I think the one that I have in my stash is a little bit more halo-y. But, yeah. So I got those. And then we were in the store, like, the perfect amount of time, because when Lamar looked at the travel app again, or the transit app, it said that the next bus was a couple minutes down the street. So we checked out, we went to the bus stop, which was like half a block away, and we were only waiting there for a couple minutes, and then the bus came. That was pretty much everything on my bucket list. Then we went back to the hotel, got all of our stuff. Yeah, we went back to the hotel, changed into the traveling clothes, got in the car, and then we were like, okay, on our way out, I wanted to go to Bornside Yarn Co., which was like a yarn shop that is on the side of town by the 9th Ward. So because Lamar wanted to go over there, I was like, oh, can we also stop at Bornside? He was like, cool. So we stopped there. The owner, her name is Betty. She was such a sweetheart. She talked to me the entire time we were there. And I picked up a couple more balls of yarn. Now, with Bornside Co., but Bornside Yarn Co. has a lot of like commercial yarns. She didn't have a whole lot of like indie dyed. She had like maybe 2 brands of indie dyed. One of them was the fiber seed, which I thought would be hilarious, that I, from Florida, go all the way to New Orleans to see yarn that was dyed in Florida. So I didn't get any of the fiber seed or any of the other hand dyed because, you know, I want to try other things. And the hand dyed is at the top of my budget. Let's get more bang for the buck, y'all. So I got these 3. I have, and all 3 of these are ones that I had never used before. I got my first ball of Regia, and I got this one because Hufflepuff. I'm a Hufflepuff, so I saw this and I was like, obviously I have to get that. So all 3 of these are going to be socks. So, and I only got 1 ball of each, so each one of these is a 50-gram ball. Nope, 2 of them are 50 and 1 is a 100 gram. So the 50-gram ball ones, I'm going to do contrast, heels, toes, and cuffs. Go socks. This is the other one that I got that is a 50-gram ball. This is Wildfoot by Brown Sheep Company. And it's a 75% washable wool, 25% nylon. So they kind of, I think that's the same kind of thing as the Regia. Where is it? Oh, this doesn't say super wash. So, oh, machine washable. So this is 75% washable wool, 25% polyamide. So same thing. So this is called Deco Lime. So cool. I'd never seen this kind of yarn before, so depending on how it works up, I might have to get more of this, because this was very like inexpensive. So, and then the last one I got is this. It's by Wisdom Yarns, and it's Naked Sock. It is wool free, 23% acrylic, 7% PBT. Not quite sure what the PBT is, but whatevs. It is 100 grams, 470 yards, and the colorway is Oceanic. So, of course I had to buy this. Now I think I have 2 kinds of yarns that are in this color, like this ocean feel. I mean, this is my color wheelhouse, y'all. If you've watched my podcast for any length of time, you are absolutely not surprised by these color choices. So those are the 3 yarns that I purchased from her. While I was sitting waiting for her to ring me out, she had a stack of this other yarn on her desk. So I was like looking at it, you know, reading the contents or whatever, and just put it back down, waiting for her to give me my receipt, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, oh, have you used that yarn before? And I said, no. And she started telling me how, you know, one of her friends is knitting up something for the shop. And when she did the swatch and washed it, it just bloomed so beautifully. Oh, it's amazing yarn. You have to try it. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, do you want a sample? So I was like, sure. She goes, okay, well, these are the colors I have. Which color would you like the sample in? So I picked the yellow one. And, you know, when somebody says to me, do you want a sample of something? I'm thinking like, you know, like a little mini skein or something to, like, only enough to, like, knit a square, right? She gave me a whole ball. This is Barocco Remix Light, 100% recycled fibers. It is 30% nylon, 27% cotton, 24% acrylic, 10% silk, and 9% linen. And it is a light, like, DK weight. That was so sweet. I was so surprised when she came out with this whole ball of yarn. I was ready for like a little mini skein, a little teeny ball. But no, she gave me a whole one. And I was like, oh my gosh, you are the sweetest person that I've met. And even like, if I were to rank the three yarn shops, I would put Bornside Co. at the top because she was friendly. I like to feel welcomed when I walk into a store. I'm not really a talker. Like in public, I don't really interact a whole lot, but I'd like to know that you acknowledge the fact that I'm in your store. And if you see that I am willing to talk to you, that you'll talk to me, you know, or if you see that I'm quietly looking through your shelves, then you allow me to quietly look through your shelves. And that's what Miss Betty did, and I really appreciated that about her. She's just like a sweet little old lady. I guess it doesn't make any sense to do like the Uptown Yarn or Uptown, what was it? Uptown Needle and Craft Works, because they're getting rid of all of their yarn, so they're not really a yarn store anymore. But the other, Quarter Stitch, that shop, I mean, it's more of like what you would kind of expect to see when you're in like a local yarn store with like all these different indie dyed yarns and, you know, stuff like that. But I think maybe it was when we went in there, because the owner was doing, I don't know what she was doing. She was organizing something, and she didn't really like greet us when we walked in the store for real. She was kind of like, like, and that really like, I really don't like when, if I'm a customer somewhere, I really don't like when the people who work there, or, you know, shop owners or anything like that, if they don't acknowledge that I have walked in the store, or if it takes a long time to greet, that kind of bothers me, because it makes me feel like, oh, you know, whatever you're doing right now is more important than the customer that just walked into your presence, you know. And I work in customer service, and whenever you have someone to come into the store, or whenever you have someone to come into the studio or something like that, you always want to acknowledge them. If you are doing something, you let them know, like, hey, hi, I'll be with you in a moment, let me just finish this up, or something like that, just to let the person know that you know that they came in, that you acknowledge that they came in. And yeah, it wasn't a really like warm experience in that shop, but I mean, I guess I'd go again. She had more like unique yarns, I guess. So I guess I would say, if you're going to New Orleans and you're looking for like indie dyed or hand painted, hand dyed yarns, the quarter stitch is definitely where you go. If you are looking for more commercial yarns, or you know, you don't mind, or that you're not necessarily looking for the indie dyed look, then check out Bornside Yarn Co. Now she does, I think what she does is keeps like one ball of the yarn of each like color out on the floor. Because from what I could see at Bornside, there was like along the wall this way, she had some shelves and they had the yarn in, and there was a little bit of yarn on this side, and then there was like one little like roundabout tree thing, and that had yarn on it, and that was all of the yarn. And then on this side she had like kind of like china cabinets with, I think they were like needles and stuff in. But when I selected the balls of the yarn that I was going to buy, she went and took it to the back to get like a fresh ball of yarn, because she was like, I want to give you one that hasn't been touched by human hands. I don't care, whatever you want to do. So, and then someone on Instagram commented saying that she keeps the needles in the back as well. And they were a little bit frustrated by that, but I mean, if that's how she wants to organize her business and that makes it, you know, better for her, then have at it. But so I think that she has like one of each, like she doesn't stock the shelves with everything that she has. So if you see something that you like on the shelf and you're like, oh man, she only has like one ball of this, she probably has more in the back. That's what I observed. But yeah, so after we left there, we went on to the Ninth Ward, and that's when we went and were reading all of like the history markers and stuff. Just learning so much about the area and what that area has been through. And then we got on the road to come home, and it was probably like 8 p.m. when we left New Orleans, which, after having a long day of walking around in the heat, being in the heat, just doing and going and going and going, we probably should have like waited a little while or rested or something, but we got right on the road. I fell asleep, and then probably around 10 or 11, Lamar switched with me. So I drove for a few more hours. It's like a 9-hour drive. So I drove a few hours, and then when I started getting super sleepy, we pulled over to switch again. We ended up like sleeping and resting a little bit in the at a rest stop, and then we continued on. And then we got home Saturday morning around 9. So what's normally a like 9-hour trip definitely turned into like 11 or 12 hours, just because of, you know, how tired we were and everything like that. But it was nice to get home. I was happy to see the dogs. They were happy to see us. And yeah, that was our whole New Orleans trip. So like I said earlier, I did vlog. So if you want to see like specifics about the different things that we did while we were there, I will link to the playlist of the vlogs in the down bar. And yeah, that's everything. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. I know this was a long one, but I do want to announce the winner of the giveaway for the Key Largo lace wrap by Hannah of the Cozy Cottage Crochet. I will pull the name and I'll put the person's Ravelry name on the screen. So congratulations to this person. Please send me a message on Ravelry letting me know that you've seen this, and I will send your name on to Hannah so that she can send you that pattern. Again, thank you so much for being here and for being a part of my universe. Thank you for allowing me to have this place that I can share the wonderful things that I get to do, and share my love of all things making and creating. Leave comments down below of anything you want to talk about, anything you want to share, positive things that have happened to you in this week. And yeah, that's it. Bye, friends.